Good evening. A raucous first day back here at Queen's Park as the legislature resumes following the winter break. Dominating question period, accusations the Ford government's license plates are flawed, and the looming education strike that's coming up province-wide, with the NDP calling for the education minister's job. And it's only day one.
The government, the premier, his minister have poisoned the relationship with teachers. Why is this minister still at his job?
He's at his job because he's one of the best ministers we've ever seen. That's why he's at his job.
Every publicly funded school in the province will be closed on Friday as teachers picket en masse. Some 2 million students will be out of class. The premier insists the government has been reasonable.
We listen to the parents of students. We reduce the class size from 28 down to 25.
That is misleading. The Ford government is not reducing class sizes from 28 to 25. It is reducing its proposed increase from 28 to 25, which is still higher than the former class size of 22. It's one of the major hurdles in negotiations that have stalled as the one-day strikes escalate, prompting many to wonder when the government will consider pushing for back-to-work legislation. But would it be 10 days, 15, 20 days? Like how many, what's your bar?
I appreciate that.
Parents really want to know, how many days will my kids lose school before the government might act, if it's necessary?
The government and the premier and I think, have been clear that this cannot go on indefinitely. We want a resolution.
And then there are the Ford government's new license plates. During the weekend, a Kingston police sergeant noted in a viral tweet it was difficult to see the numbers at night. It had the NDP gleefully mocking the PCs.
Why is the government scrapping perfectly good white plates when their glowing propaganda plates are problematic? And I thought Ontario was a place to grow, not a place to glow. But again.
But the government is standing by its new blue plates.
Well, first things first, I'm sure everyone here today would agree with me wholeheartedly that the status quo, the flaking and peeling Liberal plates, were not an option to stick with.
Hang on. The old plates weren't Liberal. They were last redesigned 38 years ago when Bill Davis was the Conservative premier. But back to the new plates and the government's defense of them.
I can assure you that we have been exhaustive with our testing. We have tested in terms of readability, reflectivity, and durability.
They goofed this up pretty bad. It's pretty obvious. They should take some responsibility for what they've done and ensure that we have license plates that people can see.
Questionable priority, poor choice, hastily implemented, and we have a mess. And it's indicative of everything else that they've done.
Now, whether or not these license plates are defective and will have to be changed, well, that still remains to be seen. But it's adding to the opposition narrative that this government can't implement its policies properly and is always acting before it thinks things through. Think buck of beer that manufacturers didn't want to make, gas stickers that didn't stick, trying to break the beer store contract at a cost of $1 billion. All of these past mistakes are getting in the way of the government trying to do its reset and change the narrative.